Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your debt diva, also known as a finance advocate here in Omaha, Nebraska, surrounding areas, and nationwide. I wanted to talk to you guys today about credit card debt. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I have been working in the consumer collections industry for over 15 years, over 25 years if we include corporate and my business. So the reason I wanted to talk about credit card debt is because if you don't know already, we have hit an all-time high. We are in the trillions when it comes to credit card debt. And the numbers that I pulled, statistically, believe it or not, brace yourself, it's around 1.3 or a little over that. The good news is, believe it or not, Iowa is not that high. They're considered low. And Nebraska is a little lower than the national average as well. But 1.23 trillion. So we're up a little bit from 2025, well, even going into 2026. But when I pulled these numbers, it didn't surprise me because I was watching all of 2025, how high things had got. And what I want people to understand, I guess the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because high credit card debt, it's so sneaky because we'll get a credit card and we will assume that the minimum payment is only $20 or $30 a month. And if you have higher credit card limits where there's a high credit balance of thousands of dollars, it can almost be like paying a car payment for $200 or even $100 and something per month or higher. Because I know car payments now are more like $500 to $700, so I need to keep frame of that. But there are ways to eliminate this debt, and that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. All right? So in order to stop the bleeding and get control of it, you are going to have to freeze these cards, or you're going to have to stop using them temporarily. And for some of us, it's just a habit. And so what I'm finding as I work with clients is that it's not so much of how fast you can pay it down, but it's the behavior. It's being able to change that behavior of racking up our credit cards, paying them down, and then racking them up again. I have had people in this business, believe it or not, because our niche is debt elimination and credit education, which of course leads to higher credit scores, right? But the focus with Lana Solutions has always been the credit education. Even though I have a lot of people that come in and they're like, raise my score so I can hurry up and go, get the higher credit cards or get the higher loan or the fancy car. And I already see a lot of you driving around with the new cars. I see this every year around this time because a lot of the dealerships will let you file your taxes, and then they'll let you use that as a down payment even before your taxes are literally filed. So I'm saying that with the credit card situation, we do things unconsciously. And until we change the habit of swiping that card, it's going to continue and it gets worse. And then a lot of you end up meeting with me or some other entity. And in 2026, let's just pull in the reins, okay? And this is going to start by freeze or lock the credit cards temporarily, okay? So physically and in apps, switch to debit or cash. You can use those for your daily spending. And go in and identify your 3 biggest spending leaks. So that could be food, subscriptions, or even impulse shopping. Who does that? No one does that, right? They just cater to you right when you're at the checkout lane. Have you ever noticed that? That's set up for you and your children to be at a certain eye level to be able to grab those items when you're in checkout, and all of a sudden you're like, I think I need some chapstick or some chips or a pop, right? It's just right conveniently right there for us to do that impulse buy. So make sure that you identify your 3 biggest spending leaks. Create a realistic spending plan. Not a restrictive one, okay? So the debt elimination is going to start with the behavior, like I said, not just money. So think in your mind the times when you know you are just that impulse buy, you know you don't need it, or you have those subscriptions, you're never using them or you're never watching them. For me personally, if it's not on regular TV, I will always, if there's like some type of boxing match that I would want to see where I would have to pay for it, I would end up getting that subscription to see it. Or it could be Super Bowl or just little things like that. And then I'll look on and see that the actual subscription, I'm still being charged. Or gym membership, right? We all run out and get that the first of the year, and then you'll look back months later and you're like, man, I'm not really taking advantage of this. Go in and see where the 3 biggest spending leaks are for you. Now with food, I know we have to take care of our family, you guys, but when I'm sitting down and I'm meeting with clients, groceries and food is like one of the highest things. And I'll tell you why, because we get accustomed to eating a certain way, and we'll unconsciously go in there and just buy stuff. Rarely do we really budget and have a set plan in place. And then even when we do, how many people go in that grocery store, or now it's so convenient, you don't even have to go in the grocery store. We just click away, right? And we either have it delivered or we just do a drive up and pick it up. Don't go outside your budget with that, okay? Figure out what those national averages are. You can go on Google and it'll let you know per household. And if you're outside of that, maybe you need to switch up your store, or you need to just change up your spending when you do start to get your groceries. Groceries can be very high because we try not to include the fast food, some of the other impulse things we do during the weekend. The weekend can be notorious when our grocery budget is completely out of whack. Or Monday through Friday when you're working a 9 to 5 and the group wants to go to lunch all of a sudden on a Wednesday or maybe twice a week, and you're like, oh, I don't want to say no, right? Well, you're going to have to if you really want to eliminate the credit card debt and get things in order. You don't need more money first. You need better control first. So, number 2, that was number 1. I want to talk about number 2, you guys. Number 2, choose a smart pay down strategy. Not just any strategy. You're going to want something that works. So, your strategy, like I said earlier, it's going to matter more than you just getting it paid off, because guess what? You're going to charge it right back up. And that's what we don't want, okay? So, make sure you choose your strategy. So, a couple of the methods that a lot of us are familiar with is the debt snowball plan. And with this plan, you're just paying off your smallest balance first. So let's say you have one of your smaller credit cards, like maybe it's your gas card, and you got it racked up to maybe $300. But then you have your Nebraska Furniture Mart card, because you know during Berkshire, right? Everything's on sale, so a lot of people spend that time to go spend a few thousand and get the furniture and different things or appliances that they've been waiting to get. Which one would you pay off first? pay off the gas card, because that's going to give you progress, right? It's going to build up the momentum. That's why they call it a snowball plan. It gets bigger and bigger, deleting that debt. The other one is the debt avalanche. Now, the debt avalanche is pay your highest interest first to save money. And I kid you not, you guys, and not to put J.C. Penney's on the spot, but it's a lot of the cards. I sat down with a client last week. She has a 33% interest rate. And I don't think people really understand when they're making the minimum payment that 33% is being snatched. And then we were having a conversation and she's like, I'm trying to pay down a lot of these different cards and I just can't seem to get them paid down. And she's making the minimum payments, and I'm telling her, as long, you're making the minimum payment, but you're still charging. And as long as you're making that minimum payment and you're not applying more towards that principal, you're almost never going to get those cards paid off. And what people fail to understand in the banking industry, you're thinking as a consumer, they've loaned me $1,000 that I can use, right? So I have to pay them $1,000 back. And they got millions of people doing this, and that's how they make their money. No, it's the interest. It's the nickels and the dimes. It's that 33% that they can count on regularly from millions of you, right? That's why there's trillions of dollars right now that still needs to be owed to them. But they're fine with you dragging that out as long as you need to, because they're taking your interest and they're making money off of it, okay? So what we need to do is flip it and start taking that 33%, getting the debt down first, and start taking that little extra 33%, whatever the amount may be for you, and start investing that and start making money yourself. So the debt avalanche is paying your highest interest first to save money. So if you have a credit card that's 33%, like the J.C. Penney's card, right? And then you have what's another one, you guys? Menards, all right? And that's just the name of it, right? But behind most of those cards is Synchrony Bank. And that one is 26% APR. Not a big difference, but you would pay off the highest interest rate first because you know that card is costing you the most, okay? So you got the debt snowball plan or the debt avalanche. Always pay the minimum on all your cards. Attack one card at a time. You can call creditors and ask for interest rate reductions. Consider balance transfers or consolidate only if spending is under control. If your spending is not under control, taking out another loan to consolidate debt will not help because you're continuing to rack up debt. So you're continuing to borrow. And it gets bigger and bigger, and then you guys come see me. And I don't mind that type of business. I love helping you eliminate your debt. But I hate the ones that end up having to come to me because they either need to file bankruptcy or they're being garnished or getting ready to be garnished. I will take care of it. It's what Lana Solutions does. But this show is to help you get control of it. The behavior first, right? And then the speed of how you take care of things. Because if I do a debt consolidation and I have all my debt consolidated, my debt is still here, right? Hopefully you got a zero balance interest rate for 12 to 24 months. Right now, U.S. Bank and I believe Wells Fargo is offering that. If you don't and you're rolling it in, you're still paying interest. So you can pay interest. If the interest is like 12% and you were paying 33%, you're saving money. But if the behavior, and I just want that to ring, say it with me, behavior. If it doesn't change, you're now going to have this huge mountain of debt you need to pay, which is your debt consolidation loan. And now you're bringing on other debt because you're still trying to juggle it. And the mountain gets bigger and bigger, you guys. So momentum pays off emotionally, and interest savings pay off financially. So choose your weapon. Now, number 3, you can negotiate, settle, and rebuild at the same time. You can reduce balances and raise your credit score simultaneously. Anytime that balance is decreased, the credit score is increased. That's why I have a lot of my viewers and people who follow me on social media. When it comes to your student loans, a lot of people are like, well, my student loan is on forbearance, or I'm on a save plan or something where I don't currently have to make payments, but you still have interest accruing. And what happens is, if you monitor credit reports the way I have for over 25 years, that interest rate is raising your student loans. And most Americans have several student loans that equal that full balance. So it's something you need to pay attention to, and you need to consider other ways and options of trying to get things taken care of. Since I'm talking about student loans, in the news, they did decide to stop the wage garnishment until they're able to figure out a different plan. And that's Trump's administration. So as of right now, they did stop that. But that's the collection piece, pushing it into a wage garnishment. They stopped that, but it won't stop the IRS if things are already set up and it's already gone into that offset where they will take your tax monies, because that's always been something that they will do. So with this year supposedly being the largest tax refund for most Americans, please contact your student loan servicers and ensure that there's some type of a payment plan put in place so that if you are one that gets a tax refund, you don't lose that money. Okay? Not saying you lose it. You're paying off your debt. But understand what I'm saying is, if it's money that you could really use, please set something up so you can pay it and not lose your entire tax refund. And stop running out unless you really need to. Getting a brand new car even before the tax money has hit the bank. You know who you are. If you can stay in your older vehicle for now, it's okay. I kid you not, you guys. There are millionaires that drive around in older cars. If you're in a good, sturdy car that gets you from A to B, bigger and shinier does not mean better if you have a huge mountain of debt that you're needing to pay off. It only adds to the pressure, because once that tax money is gone, now you got to consider an average car payment of $500 plus the insurance. It ends up being about an additional $700 a month coming out of your income. So I know it feels like you're walking in and you don't have to do anything but just sign papers, but I'm telling you, think about what you can do as an investment and a return on your investment this tax season instead of running out to get another shiny new vehicle, okay? So the negotiate, settle, rebuild at the same time. You can reduce balances and raise your credit score simultaneously. Creditors will often settle or lower balances if hardship is proving. So contact your creditor and see what type of financial assistance or programs they have. Now, if it's owed or charged off, meaning it's in collections already, those are prime for negotiations. But they'll still ask a lot of them for your financial analysis so they can document it, because the collection agencies that do not, well, the ones that buy the debt and even the ones that don't buy the debt and they're first party and they work for the bank, they still have to have some type of documentation, the reason that they gave you the low settlement that they can give you, but there does have to be a financial hardship in place. So use hardship letters and professional negotiators like Lana Solutions when needed while paying down debt. Keep 1 to 2 secured cards active. Maintain under 30% utilization. Set auto pay for on-time history. Debt freedom isn't just paying, it's negotiating smarter and rebuilding simultaneously. So what does that mean? A lot of people think that they have to hurry up and pay off every collector, right? So you got collection items on the credit reports. But they don't realize you still have active accounts that you could keep the usage low, that's your utilization, and you could decrease the balances as much as you can. That's still going to report a good trade line and help your credit scores increase. So what are you saying, Nicole? What I'm saying is you can build credit on top of bad credit. And it might sound foreign, but I've been doing this for over 25 years. Pay your bills, of course, but the more you can decrease that debt, the higher your score is going to go up. And there are agencies like Open Sky for personal credit cards who will do secure credit cards. That's where you take your own money, put $200 on the credit card, and you use it and pay it back. I know Discover does that, and your bank might do it. There's a lot of banks that do it. I know Penn Federal Credit Union is one of them, and they'll also do secured loans where you give them $1,000 and they'll put $1,000 personal loan on your credit reports. And then what you do each month is you just pay that money back. I hope that makes sense. So it's like they're loaning you your money to help you get better credit. But if your behavior doesn't change, it doesn't mean anything, you guys. So just to go ahead, again, the total U.S. credit card debt just hit about $1.23 trillion. It's a record high. So some states like Alaska and the D.C. area have the highest average credit card balances. And across the world, Americans carry more credit card debt per person than many other developed countries. So that's something to think about. They said on high, the ones with the higher rates have on average $9,600 a piece in just credit card debt, you guys. So that doesn't even include some of the other things like our mortgage, right? And our automobile payments. So just imagine putting 10 more thousand on all of that. And if my balance is 10,000, you know I'm paying at least $300 to $500 a month on that debt. On top of that $700 a month car payment, on top of that $2,000 or $3,000 a month mortgage, right? Before you run out and get that new car or rack up those credit cards every single Christmas because you figure you're getting your refund money in the new year and you'll just pay them all off. If you don't change your behavior, you'll be right back here in 2027, but worse, because it gets the mountain of debt. It just gets higher and higher until you crash out, and you do have to see companies like Lana Solutions, or you can go to some of the nonprofits here in Omaha, Nebraska, which if you mention KPAO, I will talk to you for free to at least give you some type of an idea which way you can go. There's a lot of nonprofits out here that will help families like yourself if you need a car or if you need some help paying your mortgage or your rent. There's programs out here to work with you and help you. Or maybe you just want to buy a new home, but you're lower income and you just haven't been in a position to get the debt out of the way or the credit scores higher. I love divulging that information. Like I said, Lana Solutions is for profit, but if you mention KPAO, I would love to speak to you about your case for free, okay? That's about all I have, you guys. It's credit card debt. And you don't have to own it, but we do have to pay it off, all right? And when we pay it off, let's keep it paid off and get those debit cards or start using more cash. It's something about when you spend cash. There's just a sting. Take out $100 and watch how that 100 goes by just your daily behaviors, and you would really be surprised how much you're swiping. Well, it's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your debt diva here on KPAO, your finance advocate. Until next time, bye.